Good afternoon. Welcome to the Unto Theolore Ministries channel. Please subscribe, like, and share. Please consider contributing to the ministry, for our primary ministry is to help the ones in jail or in nursing home. And when we go to those local jails and nursing homes, we need Bibles and other printings to hand out to these that are so often overlooked. Please help us reach these needed souls. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the video description. We are also looking to partner with a few Christian businesses as an affiliate. Look into the video description for hyperlinks. Thank you.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on what time zone you are in. Thank you for coming to the Unto Thee, O Lord Ministries. On the subject at hand today is one of those that I knew a good 75%, but I wanted to do some extra research. And that was probably the wrong thing to then try to do, is to add too much more information. I was trying to create a couple of timelines, but the last timeline really wasn't working out very well. And so, therefore, let's begin with the first timeline, at which I have thus labeled it as that of a duo timeline, because the top side of it has to do with with uh, with one thing, and the bottom tends to deal with something else. Well, at least starting at around 300 AD. That of the first two items mentioned are going to be the same regardless which part of the timeline that you are looking at. At around 30 AD, that is when Jesus Christ died on the cross, and he then rose again 3 days later. Up until that point, well, actually, up until around 27 AD, there was only one type of text, that of the Masoretic Textus, which is the Old Testament. Starting at around 27 AD, it is the beginning of the Textus Receptus. Okay, simply put, in that of the simple English, it is that of the received text. People are starting to call these two combinations as that of a Codex Antioch. Okay. As more and more archaeology goes about, the earlier and earlier we are finding scrolls that is going into the 1st century AD. Up until then, the timeline was not very good, but now we are starting to find scrolls that is in the late first it is a century. Okay, I say we as that of a Christian world. Okay, one of the biggest finds was the scrolls found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. and 1/3 of the scrolls was what is now known as the Textus Receptus, which actually dates back into the mid-second. Another third is history, and another third was it is a questionable things that they may have tried to teach. Okay, so then there is a mixture. But here is the thing, outside of the Dead Sea Scrolls, we are finding other scrolls to also back up that of the Textus Receptus. So then, therefore, if it was just that of the Dead Sea Scrolls only, Textus Receptus, along with those other fake books, then, basically the Textus Receptus would not have any weight. But because there is other proof outside of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the proof of what we now call as the Textus Receptus, that only brings proof to what brings proof to the authenticity of those scrolls. Now then, this is where the it is a dual timeline comes into play. For the first 3 centuries, there was only one church, the church. It was not that of the Roman Catholic Church, it was the church. And that of the Catholic Church began in 321 AD with that of a decree from Emperor Constantine. He have then made Christianity the that of the religion of Rome. At that point, there was also that of a little sheet of paper, allegedly, that is labeled as that of the it is a donation of Constantine. Now, here is the thing when I went through my schooling, and I have pointed out this. One of my teachers said that is a forged document. Okay, whether if it is or is not that of Emperor Constantine's actions proves what was written on that little piece of paper, because Emperor Constantine left Rome, gave it to the first pope, at which the first pope was Pope Sylvester. Okay, it was not Peter. He was not the first pope, folks. Okay, and he left to make a new to the make that of a new capital at what was then called Constantinople. So then, whether or not if that document is a forgery, what he did in the early to mid fourth, it is of let's just century, made that to be a true actual document. At that time, there was still only one particular set of scrolls that was going through the church. That of the it is a Masoretic text and also that of the Textus Receptus. In 331 AD, Emperor Constantine have them purchase the scribe time from a scribe in it is in that of a city called Alexandria, Egypt. Now, what happened between the scribe and Emperor Constantine? Because he purchased 50 copies to be made. Okay. I don't know if it was Emperor Constantine have told him to then change these things, or else if it was the scribe himself that have then thought, you know what, I don't like these things about these scrolls, so I am going to change them. Something happened, and there is a change between the Codex Antioch and the Codex Alexandria, and that became the scrolls of the Catholic Church, that of the Codex Alexandria. There was changes made. That of the earliest Codex Alexandria that can ever be found can only date back to 331 AD. There is none other before that time, period. And then in 382, that of the Latin, the Vulgate was then put into motion by a guy by the name of Jerome. Then another 700 years roughly, well, not even that. In 1008, there was that of a Leningrad Codex. You don't hear anything about that one anymore. And that one should have been moved to the other side. But in between that of the Latin Vulgate and the Leningrad Codex, we find a very interesting sidebar. In 570 AD, it is Muhammad was born. Why is this important in this timeline? Well, let's just say that there is enough evidence to then strongly suggest, let me re-say it, strongly suggest that the Roman Catholic Church created Islam. Between Islam and also that of the Roman Catholic Church, there is a lot of things that they do that are very, very similar. One is that they both pray with beads. Okay, that is kind of odd to then for two who then claim that they are not at all related to then have any number of these to be in common. Okay, whereas actually with us, whereas actually with us Christians, they claimed to also be a Christian church, but when you do the detail looking into the Roman Catholic Church, you find out they are nowhere near being a Christian church, even though that they claim to be Christian. Now, I am saying this as a as a Catholic church, not that of the people that attend the church. They all really think that they are Christians. We need to show them the truth that of their church is not really going to take them to heaven. Okay? So, basically, with them both praying with beads, let me get to my other list here. Oh, okay. They also have it is they both also have it is they also both have it is pilgrimages. Okay, which is really kind of odd that they both require, and I did say that specific word, didn't I? Require that of their members to then go to certain places at least once in their lifetime. For Islam, it is to the cube thing. And for that of the Catholic Church, there are several different places throughout the world that you can do a it is it is it is it is a pilgrimage. Martin Luther was in the midst of one of those whenever he have then realized that this doesn't seem like the God of the of it is a Bible, because it just didn't seem like that he would have to pay and then do some kind of a it is a penance. Okay, that just didn't make sense to him, and it doesn't make sense to us now. Why are or were and possibly still are people paying to have certain sins forgiven by the Catholic Church? Jesus never asked for them. Jesus never asked for anyone to pay him before he forgave sins. But yet, that of the Catholic Church requires or requires and or required, okay, for that of their members to then pay the church to forgive sins. That does not make sense. Well, I do not see my other. Oh, and there is a list of. Okay, here we are. There is a list of about 15 or more. Let me open it up. I have just found it. Uh, of a lot of similarities between Islam and that of the Catholic Church. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. So then here is the first slide that I was trying to find real quick. That of the on both of them, they are both at around 1.6. It is a billion members. Yes, 1.6 billion each. And I have just covered the next one. They both require that of a it is a pilgrimage. They both have got the sickle, moon, and star. That of the Catholic Church has a nun dress code. That of the women in Islam are supposed to cover themselves from head to toe, at which, if you look at them side by side, they both almost look the same. They both have shrines. They both say women are not important. And again, I've just covered this one, that they both pray with beads. They both have got the all-seeing eye. They both have that of the solar sun symbol. They both have the pentagram. They both have the eight-pointed star. They both have it. They both hold it is a Mary, that of the mother of Jesus, in very high regards. In the Catholic Church, she is known as the Queen of Rome. In Islam, she is the Queen of Islam. It doesn't make sense, but these are all true. They both believe that Mary was a immaculately conceived, which means that they believe that Mary was that of a virgin birth. Now then, stop and think about that. If at all by the only means that of Jesus was going to be born without sin was that his mother it is going to be born of a virgin birth. Wouldn't her mother have to be born of a virgin birth? And her mom? And her mom? How far back will that have to go? I find that very unlikely. And then we have the fervent devotion to Mary. They both have murdered. That of Islam still does it, but the Catholic Church have murdered millions of people, primarily during that of the Dark Ages, known also as that of the Inquisitions, plurally. Okay, For the Islam, it is called jihad for the main thing. But here is the thing. Islam tries to pin that of all of those over 1 million murders that the Roman Catholic Church did on all of us Christians. And no, that is not the case. That of the Roman Catholic Church did that. They both have got their own holy book. That for the Catholic Church, it is called that of the, it is a lesser catechism of the Catholic Church. For Islam, it is the Quran and also almost that of a encyclopedia known as the Hadiths. They both have got their own holy city. Catholic Church, it is the Vatican. For Islam, it is that of Mecca. They both believe in kissing holy items. For the Catholic Church, it is that of a statue of, it is of Our Blessed Mary. For the Islam, it is the stone. They both engage in holy wars. That of the Catholic Church had and will again someday soon. Because if you watch that of the one video I have talking about that of the Antichrist, we find out that of the Roman Catholic Church is the Antichrist, okay, being that of primarily the Pope, okay. It is my second one. It is my second. It is a lesser video, simply labeled as the Antichrist. Okay, that of the Catholic Church had a join or die attitude, and they will again soon. Islam has a join or die attitude. They both have got it is a specified set of prayers to recite. And they both expect that of the laity to then blindly follow without question. And that is the biggest key to what a cult is, that you are to follow without blindly. Wait a minute. You are then required to follow blindly without questioning. Period. That of the Catholic Church has a prime. It is a lesser dictator called the Pope. Over in Islam, he is called that of the Grand. That of the Grand Imam. Okay, there is probably more, but there is over 15 right there alone. Okay, and these are weird things that they have in common. Which is why I feel it is important to point or to add to this timeline the birth of it is of Muhammad at 570 AD. At 610, it is when he began in Mecca. It is said that he have began receiving these so-called revelations in 607, but he didn't start until 610. He was then chased out of he was then chased out of Mexico because he was not tolerant of other people's religions. And so in 622, he went to Medina, and he have gotten himself a fairly large uh, band of soldiers, and he went back to Mecca in 629, and he have basically destroyed all of the uh, idols in the cube, and yet kept the cube. That right there doesn't make much sense right there. But in 632 AD, he dies. Now, in all this, when he first began receiving his it is of revelations in 607, he was married to his first wife. Here is one other thing that I truly believe, that the Catholic Church created Islam. His first wife was Catholic. His first wife's sister was a nun in the Catholic Church. There is just too much Catholic, Roman Catholic Church going on between these two, that it is kind of hard to then say, you know what, these two must be somehow interconnected. And well, from that of someone that I do occasionally listen to his preachings, have said that of the Roman Catholic Church created Islam to then for them to then take control of Israel, so that Islam can turn Israel over to the Catholic Church. If that was the goal, they both failed, because that never happened, which could then maybe explain why the such strong emphasis on the lesser crusades. Okay, that is possible. I don't know. Now, let's take a look at the second part of this timeline. In 331, that of the creation of the Codex Alexandria have occurred. And again, in 1008, that of the Leningrad Codex, and 382, that of the Latin Vulgate occurred. Now, here is where things get it a little strange. In 1844, the Codex of the that of the Codex, it is of Sinaiticus, was found. Can't think of his name, but he works at the Chick. It is a Chick publishing, that he shows that there is about 2/3 that looks old, but yet 1/3 of the scrolls looks like that they have never been aged at all. And well, come to find out that of the 2/3 that shows that they are old, was actually not being old at all. Someone have just squeezed some lemon over it to then make it look aged. That of the Codex Antioch isn't as old as what they are trying to get you to believe. At the same time, guess what else all of a sudden showed up? That of the Codex, it is of Vaticanus shows up all of a sudden in 1844. So far, that of the Catholic Church will not let science do its testing on these two to then either prove that they are older than 1844 or if all of this is just a lot of hogwash. I would then venture a guess it's more a lot of hogwash happening with these two. Are are these two really older than the date that they were found in 1844? We may never know. And then here comes Westcott and Hort a little less than 40 years later with their own little version. And this is in the early stages of all of these new lesser translations that were going on. And wow, this is where my extra research took a really bad twist. From 1808 to the current time, we are talking about 2019 of August 2019. There is more than 100 translations that has gone on. And I had a hard time trying to squeeze all 100 and almost 15 to then squeeze into a single screen timeline. But I will get to that here in just a couple of seconds. One other thing that I want to point out, and before we leave this timeline, there is a white line that is straight, and then there is a red line, which I have put that as the Catholic Church. And I have created that of a video of what does it mean to be a, well, let me find it again. Or else have I? I thought I did. Oh yeah, my number six of the video. What does it mean to be a lesser Protestant? You actually might want to take a look at that one and see what I am talking about in a little more in lesser detail, because I am only going to do it real briefly right here. In 321, it is when the first church split. And this is when I believe that it is of lesser Protestant church began, because it was the church from that of it is of lesser 30 AD to 321 AD, and then from there it have became either the Catholic Church or that of the underground church is what it was more commonly called. But this is the first split where I believe that of the it is of 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 lesser Protestantism began, but not by that name, because that of the underground church did not believe what the Roman Catholic Church was trying to teach, and thus they were underground. Many of the people that the Roman Catholic Church murdered during the Dark Ages were these people underground that have chosen to then remain in God's Word as it was for the first 3 centuries. And enough with that. So, if you want to know more about what that is, you can go to my other video on it and then watch it. Now we come to the whole idea of me trying to put all of the uh, it is a list of translations from about 1800, which would be a little more accurate to, let's say, 1808, all the way to the current time. But that was just too many to list on a timeline. Instead, I will then point out the ones or that of the common, most popular translations that uses one of the transcripts that came from the Codex Alexandria, which can include Codex of the Vaticanus, Codex Society Westcott, or else Westcott and Hort. One of those four. Here are those most common ones. Okay? There are more, but these are the common ones. Now, if you notice in the second column, sixth one down, that of the Revised Standard Version, that of the RSV has got a star beside it. That is the official Bible of the Catholic Church. For that of anyone that is of that of a laity wants to have a Bible, it is that of the Revised Standard Version that is the Catholic Church approved. But all of these have been written using that of one of the four codexes that has been altered. That again, that of the Codex Alexandria, which is that of the mother of the other scrolls. Then also comes that of the Codex Sinaiticus, Codex Vaticanus, and the Westcott and Hort. They are all very corrupt. Now, let's get into one of the strangest things I have come across. Here is I have miscounted. 5 other translations that uses the that then uses that of the it is of lesser Nessel Holland. There is a problem with the it is of lesser Nessel Holland. Okay, that of the Nessel Holland, it did not get their work directly from a scroll. Instead, they have actually used a different translation to then make their own translation. Okay, which actually includes the Tischendorf, the West Cotton Horn, and the Weymouth translations as as a part of his translation. What happens whenever you then make that of a translation of a translation? That of the second translation, you don't know if all of the words are even close to being right. That is why you don't use that of a English translation of the scrolls to then make a different English translation, because you are just changing words. And well, if at all you cannot read and see the Greek and Hebrew words and what they possibly mean, because just like in almost every language, some words has more than one meaning. It is all depends on how they were used in that particular sentence, which actually changes things. Okay? Now, now then, here is, and so then here are the 5 that have used that of a translation of that have used a translation to then translate their own translation. That gets very, very confusing. It is best to try to keep with that of the original whenever you do a translation. You don't want to trust somebody else's work that they may or may not have done a good job. The good news here is that I am not a King James onlyism person. Okay, there are at least 8 of the Bibles that have used the Textus Receptus to then translate 1534. Mr. Lesson Tyndale, 1535, Coverdale, 1537, Matthews, 1560, 1568, 1611, the King James Bible, 1833, Webster's, 1862, the Youngs. These are all that have used that of the Textus Receptus. Okay, I am not a King James onlyism. I am that of the it is of a Masoretic and Textus Receptus onlyism. There is a difference. Which brings us to probably the final questions of a translation. The New King James Version. I say no. Why? Because it does not just use that of the Masoretic text or the Textus Receptus. It uses the Westcott and Hort, the Codex Sinaiticus, Codex Alexandria. It uses a lot of different scrolls, and I believe it is mainly because that they want to choose what they use and not actually going off by God's word. And so, therefore, the New King James Version, no. Okay, well, as you may be able to figure out, every single one of these translations can claim that they are using the oldest scrolls around. But in the end, all that they are saying is that their scrolls can date back to the Textus Receptus. Now, then, whether or not they are actually using the Textus Receptus is another thing. They may be using a scroll that was done from the Textus Receptus but has been altered, like, for example, that of the Codex Alexandria. It have used the Textus Receptus, but it have altered a lot. And I'm not just talking about just a few small words here and there. They have altered it a lot. And whenever you take a look at the Codex Sinaiticus and the Codex, it is Vaticanus, the Westcott and Hort, they are all very similar to the Codex Alexandria. That is why they all fit in the same group, while the Textus Receptus is in a group by itself. So, when you go to find yourself a new Holy Bible, take a look in the front. They oftentimes tell you exactly what scrolls they use. You just have to read the fine print. Not all of them do, but a lot of them will tell you it is from the Westcott and Hort, or it is from the Codex Alexandria, or it is from the Textus Receptus. Look at it real close. I am not pushing a King James onlyism, but I am pushing that of the Textus Receptus onlyism because that dates back to before the creation of the Catholic Church. The reason why the Catholic Church is trying to dismiss the King James Bible is that if you read it is also Daniel 7, Revelation 13, and Revelation 17 properly, you will find out that the Catholic Church is indeed the Antichrist. This is why the Catholic Church is trying to flood the market with all of these other that has been translated from one of the ancestors of the Codex Alexandria, because they know that the Textus Receptus, primarily the King James translation, calls the Roman Catholic Church as the Antichrist. Let us not be deceived. If we don't know who the Antichrist is, and or we don't know what his mark is, we will be following the Antichrist, and that will lead us to the wrong place. Let us get the truth from the correct source so that we know the truth wherever it may lie. And I know some of the Catholics are actually listening in on this. I know it hurts. I was a Catholic for about 10 years. It hurts, but it is the truth. The the Roman Catholic Church, primarily the papal power, okay? I am talking about the papal power, the Pope, and his throne is the Antichrist. Please come out of her and come to Christ. He is waiting with open arms. You can put a message down below asking me to then make contact with you, and I will share with you how to be truly saved. It is important that we do not follow the Antichrist. Thank you and have a great day.